The constitution of light, ethical formation, the measure of demonic leverage. From what point in time and by what decree are devils assigned to human beings? Answer. As previously stated, personal devils, inner demonic counterparts, shayatin and fusi, are assigned to human beings in direct proportion to their inner spiritual radiance. Each person is accompanied by one, yet this radiance does not arise in abstraction. It unfolds through a concrete human constitution, physical, psychological, and moral. When a person's inward light, born of ethical clarity and conscious alignment, begins to mature, the opposing force intensifies its efforts, seeking to obstruct moral ascent and disrupt inner coherence. When these efforts fail, the result is not stasis but amplification. Inner luminosity expands precisely through resistance. Unable to withstand such brightness, the devil retreats, reduced to whispering from afar, confined to faint psychological suggestions cast at a distance. And if even these prove ineffective, it withdraws altogether, signaling disengagement to higher demonic hierarchies. The stages of this retreat and their implications will be examined further in later discussions. As for the moment when this companionship begins, scholarly perspectives differ. Yet a consistent principle emerges across traditions of spiritual anthropology and moral psychology. The degree of demonic influence corresponds to the constitution of the human being itself, beginning at the earliest stages of formation. In essence, the more a child's bodily constitution and early nourishment are rooted in illicit, unethical, or morally ambiguous sources, the more accessible that constitution becomes to destabilizing influences. Conversely, when conception, nourishment, and upbringing are grounded in lawful means and ethical consciousness, the human being enters life with reduced inner susceptibility and greater receptivity to inward clarity, moral intuition, and angelic alignment. A well-known historical account illustrates this principle not as theory, but as deliberate practice. Generally, such influences begin accompanying a child from the time of their earliest steps, gradually learning the contours of temperament and inclination, until the individual reaches the age of moral responsibility, at which point inward opposition becomes conscious, deliberate, and targeted. Earlier, we alluded to the formative power of lawful nourishment. We now turn to an account in which this principle was intentionally applied. It is related that Kadinu ibn Maryam, a respected jurist and moral authority of the Abbasid era, was blessed with a daughter distinguished by intelligence, ethical sensitivity, and inward composure. As she reached maturity, individuals of wealth, reputation, and public standing expressed interest in marriage. Yet, within this household, marriage was not regarded as a social transaction, but as a moral partnership, one whose consequences would echo through character, household atmosphere, and generations yet to come. Reflection unfolded through dialogue and discernment. Attention was given not to outward distinction, but to coherence between inner life and outward conduct, to restraint under ease and to steadiness under trial. What mattered was not display but orientation. In the course of this reflection, Kadinu engaged in conversation with people of varied backgrounds and traditions, not in search of validation, but in pursuit of clarity. As these perspectives were weighed, a central criterion emerged quietly yet decisively: fidelity to principle in the absence of witnesses, and inward orientation that does not fracture under circumstance. What followed was not a hurried conclusion, but a measured recognition. Character revealed over time, not reputation asserted in words, proved to be the truest measure. The individual ultimately chosen was known not by rank, but by consistency, ethical independence, and inward restraint. The union that followed emerged through alignment and consent, grounded in shared values and mutual respect. Thus, the marriage arose not from arrangement, but from conscious covenant, entered deliberately, with awareness of responsibility rather than submission to pressure. The man was already closely connected to a household renowned for exceptional integrity, disciplined restraint, and moral vigilance, one in which illicit gain and careless indulgence found no shelter. Yet he refused to rely on reputation alone, recognizing that spiritual consequence is not inherited by proximity, but shaped by precision. After marriage, by mutual agreement and shared understanding, both spouses chose to delay physical intimacy for many days. This decision did not arise from imbalance of desire, but from heightened awareness of causality. They understood that nourishment does not end at sustenance. What enters the body participates in its most intimate processes, shaping the formation of living cells, influencing their quality, and contributing to the biological constitution from which a new human being emerges. And since demonic influence operates in proportion to that constitution, they sought consciously and deliberately to curtail its leverage at the very source. By ensuring that their sustenance during this formative period was entirely lawful, ethically unambiguous, and consciously obtained, they were not engaging in symbolic restraint. They were implementing a metaphysical safeguard, reducing the initial foothold through which destabilizing influences might later operate upon the child. For this reason, they resolved to begin their shared life only after ensuring that every layer of provision, material, ethical, and intentional, was free from ambiguity. This restraint was not excess, but foresight. When questioned, the husband articulated the shared reasoning in substance rather than speech, that what forms a household also forms the unseen architecture of those who will emerge from it, and that they wish to begin their life together with clarity so complete that no preventable shadow would be cast forward. From this union was born Abdullah ibn Mubarak, later renowned not only for scholarship, but for ethical depth, spiritual discernment, and transformative presence. His influence extended across communities and traditions, often through a single encounter marked by sincerity and inward coherence. This account is not offered as a prescription of social form, but as an illustration of principle, that ethical intention and lawful nourishment shape biological constitution, and that biological constitution determines the degree of inner susceptibility, including the scope of demonic influence. What has been clarified here is a foundational law. The unseen struggle does not begin at the moment of temptation, but at the moment of formation. The degree of inner resistance or vulnerability that appears later in life is already seated in the earliest layers of constitution, physical, ethical, and intentional. What follows will examine how this initial constitution becomes the arena in which opposing forces later operate, contend, and are either restrained or empowered.